Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Adam Black, your lender for your life. And one thing that's coming up a lot right now is the Gen Z generation, which is from about 27 down to, I think, around 18. Well, those guys are beginning to graduate college, get out into the workforce, and starting to call us about homes. Just so happens, I've got a Gen Zer. My daughter, Anna Morgan, just graduated college this past May. And I thought it'd be interesting to do this a little different this time and let her get with her friends, ask them a few questions, and bring those to me. I got to say, I've glanced through the list. There's some great ones. So first of all, thanks for being here.
Of course.
I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Proud of you for finally getting through college.
Thanks.
Love all your friends. Very interested to see what they all do. So I want you to just kind of read through these questions. I may ask your opinion on some of them, and we'll go from there. So,
Okay.
All right?
All right. Number one, how do you know when or if you are financially stable enough to buy a house? So I think often you can easily calculate monthly rent, but people my age underestimate how much money goes into a house, and we don't know when we can comfortably afford it.
Great question, and one that we talk to people about all the time when they're moving from rent to buying a house is you're not just talking about the payment, but you're also talking about the maintenance, the HOA dues, buying a lawnmower, everything that goes with buying a house. So I think the best thing to do is, one, have a great budget. If I could tell anybody anything coming out of college is go ahead and get a budget. A budget doesn't mean that you've got to live a pauper's lifestyle. It just means that you're living within a budget. That's going to allow you to really know where your money's going. And then once you get with a loan officer, a really good mortgage professional is going to sit down with you and look at that budget with you and kind of give you some direction on, hey, you're ready or you're not ready. If you're not ready, here's the things you need to do. So yeah, it's not a one size fits all. It's going to be for everybody.
So I was told you have to work 2 years before you can buy a house. Is this true?
That is not true. So the guidelines state 24 months employment. However, they will take your college as work. So let's say you graduated in May, obviously. You've just started work, and we could instantly use that income to qualify you off of, okay? Now, there's a little bit of a caveat to that. You want to make sure that when you take that first job, that it's just a W-2 income job. It's not self-employed. It's not 1099. It's not heavily commissioned, things like that. You want something that we can track and we can prove that you're going to make, because what we're doing is we're looking at your ability to repay. And as a matter of fact, talking about that coming out of school, we can actually close on a mortgage 60 to 90 days before you even start your job if you have an offer letter that's non-contingent. So you ready to buy a house and move out?
Yeah, if you'll give me the money. All right, how do I know if my home is gaining value, and what things can make a house gain value?
Great question. That's called appreciation. And I would say on average, and I haven't looked this up, but I would say on average the last 30 or 40 years, the appreciation is probably about 4% per year. Okay. So, if you think about a $200,000 house, you're going to gain $8,000 that first year. But then what people don't realize is it's compounding. So the next year you're gaining 4% on that $208,000 and so forth and so on. So that's how you gain that equity in a home. And that's what we call building wealth through your home. So how do you know that it's gaining equity? There's really no way to really know that without, doing an appraisal every year. But it's real easy to assume that in most areas you're going to appreciate. Now, there are things you want to think about when buying a house, and that is getting in good areas that are appreciating better than others. In our area, obviously, we've got some bedroom communities that are going to appreciate better than in the capital city, unfortunately. So that's something that you really want to think about is everybody wants to live in a cool area and stuff like that, but you also want to think long-term, am I going to gain some equity in this so that when I sell it down the road, I'm making some money on it?
So if I build something really cool at my house, does that make it gain value?
Great question. If you're adding square footage, you're going to gain some. It just depends on what you're adding. If you're adding bedrooms, bathrooms, things like that, those are normally going to add. Adding a sunroom is not going to add any value in most cases.
Is there a right or wrong time to buy a house, and when would those times be?
I've been getting asked that one a lot the last few years, actually, with rates going up and inventory being down. I think that's dependent on the individual. You've got to look at the market. You've got to look at your individual situation, and you have to look at your short and long-term goals. How long, you guys are young. You may work somewhere 2 or 3 years and then move. It may not make sense for you to buy something right then. So it's on an individual basis. Everybody needs to sit down with professionals, enlist the help of their parents, their wise counsel, their financial planner if they have one already set up, and just kind of look at it in a holistic approach, take a holistic approach to it, and make a wise decision.
How do you know what kind of house you can afford since you won't technically be paying for it in full?
So I saw that question. I thought it was actually good. So you're not going to go out and just write a check for $300,000. You're obviously going to finance that over a period of most of the time 30 years. So the question was, how do you know how much you can afford? Is that what it was?
How do you know what kind of house you can afford?
Yeah. So that's where a loan officer is going to come in. We're going to look at several different things. The main 2 things we're going to look at, after we've looked at your credit, obviously, is we're going to look at your gross income. Okay, so that's before taxes. And we're going to look at your monthly debt that's showing on your credit. That's credit card debt, car notes, recreational loans like boats or whatever. And that's called your debt to income ratios. And that is going to tell us how much of a payment you can be approved for. Mm-hmm. Then we're going to take that payment and how much down payment you have, and we're going to back into that purchase price.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. So when y'all look at payments or how much someone's making, you don't factor in the taxes that they're paying off of their income?
Great observation. That's right. We don't. Okay. So that is, we look at gross income when we're qualifying. So if you make $10,000 a year, we're using $120,000 a year as your qualifying income. Hey guys, thanks. We're going to do several of these. You'll see them on our YouTube channel. Make sure that you like, subscribe, hit that little bell so that you'll be notified every time we put out new content, and make sure you comment in the comments. We want to hear what you want to know. So engage us, let us know. You guys can message me. You can add comments. My cell phone will be on here. You're welcome to call, text, however you want to communicate. You Gen Zers, the only thing I don't do is Snapchat, but everything else I do. So get in touch with me. We'd love to talk to you. Again, thanks for stopping by the channel.